So I'm in the unenviable position of having to re-record a commentary for this project. And I have no idea how this has happened, because I remember doing this video, I remember it part of the big session I did before I went away, and alas, here I am coming back as an emergency to recover it. And this is the Opera House sequence, the Stellar Opera House, leading to the King of Puppets and the Romeo boss fight. And I love how this area looks. I love a lot of the design that's present, but I despise how they have added the enemies here. All the enemies in this area are unfun to fight because they inherit an armor from the opera singing spider. And then there's a couple of the elites that are just some of the worst enemies in the game. But there's a trick here, guys, where you can skip this entire sequence just by jumping over this collision. It's a little tricky to do, it always takes me a couple of times, but when you do that, you can then land on the ground, come back, and then you can open the shortcut. And then from this stargazer we can go and fight the boss, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. But I wanted to show you a way of circumnavigating this area without running through it. It's just sadly that jump can be quite technical unless you're good at it, and you might spend more time doing the jump than you would running through the level. But the first time I saw it, I thought it was really cool because it reminded me of the skipping anor londo in Dark Souls, and I wanted to make it part of the walkthrough so that you guys could see it if you'd not seen it. One of the problems with that move, though, is that when you land you will take fall damage, so be careful of that. But this is one of the best bosses in the game coming up. Sadly, it is 2 bosses in a row with no checkpoint, and this is something that this game is going to start leaning into really heavily, and I think it's one of the weakest aspects of the game. I don't like it at all, and I don't understand it. I don't think it makes it satisfying or difficult, I just think it makes it frustrating for people who don't like having to do that much on one life. And it's understandable too, because some of these fights are really demanding. That being said, each of these phases I like a lot. However, the second one I don't know as well as I need to, because I haven't really practiced it. This one, because you have to kill him to get to Romeo, I learned a lot on my first playthrough. And I have a lot of strategies here to help you get through. The first of which is a rare strategy of me showing you to parry this move. His overhead slam that he does twice is a parry fodder for using the amulet that gives you extra damage after parrying the boss one. If you pick that one up, you will decimate this boss. There's a lot going on here as well that unless you know what's happening, you might not know what I'm doing. But that move just there, there's 2 versions, one that's close, one that's far away. Run away from the close one and then punish the far away one. But here is Romeo. This is where you're going to die if you're going to die. This enemy is incredibly fast, incredibly damaging, and he has a string of moves that are very similar to the waterfowl, that Melania has in Elden Ring. It is a really dangerous, crazily tracking, multi-hitting move, and he can spam it. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to bring cannonballs for that very reason. You can stop the move with your weapon if your timing's good, but the cannonball will guarantee you don't need good timing. And all we're going to do is we're going to bait him, we're going to space him, we're going to punish his jumping moves so it's super safe. And if you can hit him hard enough, you can flinch him and he can't riposte. However, if you can't flinch him because you've already had one and he's got more of a stance, you'll have to be careful getting out of there. The best place to be with this boss is behind him. He really struggles to turn around, so if you can be behind, you'll have an opportunity to get away, and if you stun him, you want to capitalise on the stuns. This fight is not the best it could be, because I ended up getting it in like 2 attempts. Usually, if you play a fight for at least an hour or so, you can get super warmed up and really back in tune with all the things you've learned, and then you can get a much more impressive encounter. But this guy fell really quickly, which was nice. And here comes the spin, watch out for that one, that's quite dangerous. And another thing to watch out for is the input reading. The more you press against this boss, the more he can augment things, and if you press at the wrong time, it leads to bad combos. But we're just moving towards a stun. Once you get to half HP, he's going to start using his red moves, and he's going to start using the crazy waterfowl dance, and it's there, right there, see it? When he does this, you want to throw a cannonball at him. Once you do that, it'll shut him down, and if you're strong enough and your build is good enough, he will not survive what comes next, because you'll riposte him and then you'll kill him as he stands up. And that's the end of Romeo. It looked really easy, guys, but I was stuck on this boss for about 4 or 5 hours on my first playthrough. Do not be demotivated. That fight is incredibly demanding and incredibly challenging, and in many ways it should not be in the format that it is, but if you don't like this particular pacing of bosses, you won't like the rest of this game, because they're about to get like this repeatedly and way harder than that one. thank you for watching, and you take care now.